As you all have seen, and if you haven't seen, that's your fault. We just uploaded the video about it, and it's a based video at that. As most of you should have seen, Donald Trump is in a lot of hot water at the moment. We just did a wrap up about everything in regards to the documents that he was hiding at Mar-a-Lago that he stole from the US government, and that they had to just execute a search warrant to be able to get back. And the really spooky part is that a lot of the things in which they wanted to get back just wasn't there. On that note, I want to start with something from Alina Habba, which, if you remember, is one of Trump's many lawyers who he's hired. Was on Newsmax the other day after this came out. I recorded that segment the day it came, the day that story broke, so I wasn't able to see a lot of their reactions to it because obviously it didn't happen yet. But in the days after that, a lot of his lawyers went on to right-wing news stations to be able to talk about a lot of the stuff that was happening. And yeah, we talked about it. Like, if me or you did anything along these lines, it wouldn't be that we're going to jail. We'd be instantly black bagged and being like tortured for the rest of our life in Guantanamo Bay for them to figure out what happened, okay? Because there is no way, shape, or form that anybody besides Donald Trump would be able to get away with any of this stuff if he gets away with it, and we're just not sure yet. But on that note, I wanted you to take a look at what his lawyer had to say, because the facts around Donald Trump's case for stealing the things from the White House is getting so bad that this is all his lawyers have left to be able to defend him. Can we just take a look at this really quick?
I saw this meme that was very funny on Instagram, I believe it was, and it said it's amazing. At first it was the codes to the nuclear weapons. Right. Now it's invisible classified documents. You know, it could mean anything. I don't know. It could mean that they gave those documents to NARA and to the FBI prior, as we know, which they had done. It could mean there was nothing in them. It could mean they're invisible if you're, you know, in their administration. I truly don't know. I saw this meme.
Invisible. Invisible. That's why those folders for those top secret documents were empty, because they weren't actually empty. They're invisible. Duh. That's why they need folders, so you know where they are. Come on. Come on, FBI. Everybody knows this in the intelligence community. The documents are so sensitive that they had to be printed on invisible paper with invisible ink. I mean, you could go on to Amazon right now and buy invisible ink. Come on. It's just that invisible paper just isn't, it's not, your average person just isn't able to buy invisible paper yet. It's, the government has been keeping it from us. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. But this is how bad things are getting for the Trump administration. Well, the past Trump administration. This is how bad things are getting for Trump. So now the only way that they can try to defend this man is by literally just saying they bippity boppity booped. Poof, vanished. They did a invisibility incantation on them, which made them disappear. They're not really gone. He didn't sell them to other foreign powers. They weren't just stolen. We have no clue. Also, on top of that, I wanted to show you something which was like super interesting, because a lot of people are like theorizing why Trump decided to take these documents in the first place. Somebody I remember said the reason why he did it was because he just didn't even think about there was something in like something while he was president that he literally just couldn't do. Like, he just cannot fathom not being able to do something after he becomes president, which is definitely possible. But a new theory has popped up, and it's like incredibly interesting, which is his new bar at Trump Tower. Okay, because his new bar has this new sitting. So basically it's called like Restaurant 45 or something, and it's a restaurant that he built in Trump Tower where you can pretend that you're sitting in Trump's Oval Office at the time being, and it has a bunch of like memorabilia that he did literally steal from the White House. Like, on it's filled with shit that he stole and took from the White House. He literally looted the White House for his own personal restaurant that was going to be his presidency themed. And the wild thing is that there's like a classified document folder in there. And so, did he steal classified documents to decorate his 45 themed restaurant in Trump Tower? I don't know, but this is really weird. This is actual stuff. The reason why this is wrinkled is because it's actual shit that he took from the White House. These are actual press briefings that he got, and presidential briefings, and paintings and magazine clippings, and all of the stuff that they found were the actual secret documents that he had sitting around in Mar-a-Lago. He sent a lot of it to New York, back to New York, to his tower to decorate his shitty little restaurant. It's weird. It's wild. This man is insane. 45 wine and whiskey bar. Wait, let me see if I can show any other pictures of 45 wine and whiskey. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, here's the stuff. So this is 45 wine and whiskey. As you can, he has like a bunch of pictures that were taken. He keeps around a bunch of like memorabilia everywhere. Like I said, he had the classified document folder that was there as well. It's actual just insane shit. You can drink like shitty wine under a picture of him stepping into North Korea for the first time with Kim Jong-un, which is, you know, I mean, that's great. That's like so cool. That's definitely what we needed. The Trump wall. The wall. Right here. I want to see if there's any other pictures that can, because this place is like tacky as all hell. Oh no, there's no more inside pictures. That's cringe. I'm cringing. I wanted more pictures. Here, let's see. 45 wine and whiskey. Oh, I forgot they have an Instagram page. I forgot about that. Yeah, they do have an Instagram page. Look, you can even smoke inside like back in the old days. Oh man, that's so pog. Here's this as well, a bunch of like Air Force stuff and like statues and bowls and flags. And a lot of this shit he literally just stole from the White House. He just fucking ransacked the place. So this happened, okay? And so this adds a new layer onto the questionable deeds that Donald Trump did when it pertains to why the documents are missing and what documents went missing, and the reason for why he took a bunch of shit from the White House in the first place. It seems like the reason is because he wanted to be able to decorate his new bar. See, this is him holding up the newspaper of him getting acquitted by the Senate, since they didn't want to indict him on the literal crimes that he committed while in office. But with that being said, there's more stuff to come out, and this is actually far more serious and far more worrying than even him keeping real classified documents, which it could absolutely be, and ransack shit from the actual White House that he puts in his bar. Because something that came out a little while ago that got leaked that people said happened got more confirmation earlier yesterday as of this recording, which is the fact that Donald Trump took nuclear documents. So what happened, if you remember, is that it was reported that the FBI were actually looking, one of the big things that the FBI was looking for were nuclear documents that Donald Trump took, or documents relating to the nuclear capabilities of the United States or other countries that we knew of, that he was just keeping in Mar-a-Lago. And it seems like this got more assured that this actually happened, and that they found one thing that they were looking for, which was nuclear documents. Once again, this can't be independently confirmed yet, because this is just what they're getting from insiders. But the fact that what we heard before, which was that the leak before, which was they were looking for nuclear documents, that came out to be true. And now we're here with they found nuclear documents. So if this is possibly true, which it could be, but once again, it also could not be, because we just don't know yet. But this type of reporting has already seen to come out to be pretty reliable. Trump had nuclear documents about different countries. And it's a big possibility that some of those are now missing, gone, disappeared. Because remember, some of the most classified documents that the world has ever known, that isn't even supposed to leave a specific room, let alone sit in his personal room in Mar-a-Lago in Florida, are gone. And some of those things could be pertaining to actual nuclear weapons that are just gone. Now, let's read a little something. A document describing a foreign government's military defenses, including nuclear capabilities, was found by FBI agents who searched former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence and private club last month, according to people familiar with the matter, underscoring concerns among U.S. intelligence officials about classified material stashed at the Florida property. Some of the seized documents detail top secret U.S. operations so closely guarded that many senior national security officials are kept in the dark about them. Only the president, some members of his cabinet, or near cabinet level officials could authorize other government officials to know the details about these special access programs, according to people familiar with the search who spoke on the condition of anonymity with the Washington Post. So, something as well, which is this. Washington Post had previously reported that the FBI agents who searched Trump's home were looking, in part, for any classified documents pertaining to nuclear weapons. After that story was published, Trump compared it on social media to hoax of previous government's investigations into his conduct. And this is what he said, in quote, "Nuclear weapons issue is a hoax, just like Russia was a hoax. 2 impeachments were a hoax. The Mueller investigation was a hoax, and much more. Same sleazy people involved," he wrote. Everything's false. Nothing's ever true. Until they actually find it, and whoops, everything else that they've said about this has been a bald-faced lie. So the likelihood of them lying about this is, I will tell you, if I had to trust anybody, I would put my money on the anonymous leakers than I would on Donald Trump. Okay? I would, if I'm going to be completely honest. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to this, and a lot of people will be like, you trust the deep state more than you trust Trump. Trump is the deep state. Trump spent his time before he became president funding the deep state. He is the deep state, dog. Okay? We talked about this before. People, for some reason, Trump was able to make it into the White House as being the puppeteer. Okay? Like, oh, guys, you want the truth? Don't elect the puppets. Elect their puppeteer. What are you talking about? This is ridiculous. Trump bought candidates, and he's talked about it before. It's what billionaires do. He funded campaigns, and he still does right now, and they do his bidding. They help him out when it comes to the capitalist state, dog. What are you talking about? Just sitting here being like, oh, I can't believe this is deep state versus deep state. You dipshit. Okay, think a little bit. Understand what you're talking about here. He's a supposed billionaire. He's a rich person at the very least. Trying to say that he's like somehow more trustworthy than like the actual state, I wouldn't believe, especially when it comes to the continued status quo of the state. If there's anything that the state wants more than to, I guess, like poo-poo on Donald Trump, it's the continued status quo of the state. That's what they're there for. That's what they do. That's what they care for more than anything else, because they get money, they get power. If we're going to think of a more conspiratorial way of it, if you're more like prone to the conspiratorial thinking, what they care about mostly is the continued status quo of the United States. And the people who they come down on the most are the people who jeopardize that. And now, don't be stupid, okay? Don't sit here and think, oh, anybody who's like against the status quo is just good. You are dumb. Be smart. Think for a little bit more, okay? Think for a little bit more. If somebody came and wanted to run for president, and they ran on, I want to barbecue all immigrant children, that would be against the status quo, okay? Even as bad as we treat immigrants and immigrant children at the moment, barbecuing all of them and massacring all minorities, okay? That's not great for the status quo of the state. All right, it's not. Genuinely, it is not. Because the big thing, remember, neocons, even people like Shapiro, love immigration. The reason why is because they get more money out of it. The state loves immigration. They would not want to do something like that. They love the status quo. Think for a little bit, okay? So on that note, in the sense of this one thing, which is the continuation and the stability of the United States, which a lot of business leaders, deep state, or whatever type of people that you would like to think of, powerful positions, the bureaucrats, whatever type of term that you would like to use, the main thing that they care about is things not getting shaken up too much to the point where it's going to threaten
this meme is very real.
The entire country. This is too much. And sometimes normal people's wants also align with the deep state. Meaning, I don't want nuclear secrets to just be floating around for anybody to get their hands on, or be sold on the like the black market at 3 a.m. Challenge. I called the Saudi prince at 3 a.m. for the nuclear documents. This is what happened. Gone wrong challenge. Okay, I don't want that. I think that's bad. I don't think that's good. I think it would be really bad, actually, if France's nuclear arsenal got like posted on YouTube one day. I think that's not good for anyone, for the entire planet, actually. That's not good. The last thing we need is more instability pertaining to nuclear weapons. And this is what Donald Trump has brought. And so if you have to ask me, do I trust the state or do I trust Trump? I'm much more likely to trust the state than Trump in this in particular issue. It just makes a lot more sense. All right. This is wild. This is genuinely insane. I don't want you to think that, wow, this is just goofy, but you know what, who cares? This is not a who cares situation. This is insano mode situation. This is wild. I'm losing my mind at this. I'm losing my mind. And so this is what we're working with now. Okay. And remember what Donald Trump's lawyer said before. Let's hear what Donald Trump's lawyer has to say now after it's come out that they were looking for nuclear documents. Let's take a look at what she has to say now that they brought this new information to her.
This is incredibly disturbing to me in terms of leaks coming from the Justice Department. The fact that, you know, we had originally, and let's remember the timeline here, originally there were nuclear codes, and the latest and greatest is, you know, there's empty folders. And now they're saying there's top secret information about another country. You know, when you have to defend yourself, stories come out. And that's exactly what I believe they are, just stories. Right. So at this point, if you look at the left-wing media's storytelling, it's inconsistent, it's outrageous, and it's been all over the map.
Okay, so I want you to understand what's happening here. What she's really mad about is not the fact that many, if not just one, which is too bad, but possibly many countries, including the United States, nuclear arsenal secrets are just floating around out there somewhere, and we have no clue how or where and what somebody's going to do with that information, right? Because I want you to be serious, you know? This part's a little serious. How there could be somebody possibly planning, and at the moment, I'm not 100% sure that this is going to like happen. That's going to be like successful. But there could be somebody like a terrorist state out there looking to get their hands on this document to do like 9/11-2, but instead of this time with planes, with nukes. I don't like that idea. Not at all. Not in any way, shape, or form. Less people knowing where nukes are is actually far better for all of us and our continued safety. If I'm going to be honest, I'm going to take that hard stance and say that the less people know where nukes are, what they're doing, and how to reach them is actually better for everyone. Because a mishap with a nuke that actually sounds kind of bad. Actually sounds kind of bad, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. With that being said, this is just another thing on top of the insane depravity that conservatives are up to these days. I mean, even like Fox and Friends and The Five and, you know, Fox News in general are starting to come out against this, and they're being like, this has gone too far. They brought Marco Rubio on to talk. Let me show you a little bit about that.
No, you can understand why, you know, when we first heard about this stuff, and we heard, well, maybe it's things like a note from Kim Jong-un to President Trump that he wanted to keep his hands on. But then, if true, this Washington Post report, highly classified documents at Mar-a-Lago that only a cabinet level officer or higher could even look at, that doesn't seem like the kind of thing you should have in your post-presidential desk drawer.
Well, let's break this down. First of all, again, we really don't know, because let's go back and understand that all of this information is coming from one side and one place, and that is sources with knowledge of the investigation. Well, who are the sources with knowledge of the investigation? The FBI and the Justice Department, and they are leaking to the media. So generally, when there's an investigation by the FBI or Justice Department, they're not even acknowledging there is an investigation, much less leaking. These people every single day are strategically leaking information that can't be rebutted, by the way, or in any way analyzed, for a reason. And that's politics, to influence the narrative.
So once again, we're just going to completely cha-cha slide away from the idea of the fact that the potential of classified documents pertaining to nuclear weapons is just floating out there somewhere for somebody to grab. And so the issue is not the fact that that happened. The issue is, wow, dude, people keep talking about it. We keep getting sneak peeks of what the FBI is going to say to the federal judges. What's happening? This is backing up all the way to civility politics to get you to think about things that are not important. Okay, the leaks are not important. They're really not. They're really, really not. Because the FBI is still doing their thing. The judges are still doing their thing. Whenever and wherever those nuclear documents are still doing their thing. That's the important part that we need to focus on, not the fact that some people are speaking to the media about things that always happens, which is investigations happen. Okay. And the fact that this doesn't happen that much, well, this is much bigger, okay? I'm sorry, this is much bigger than like an FBI drug bust or catching a couple of people who pack like a pound of weed in their ass and tried to like swim across the Rio Grande by like walking because the weed is so heavy it weighed them down, and so they could walk on the bottom. And they had like a makeshift snorkel made out of bendy straws that goes all the way up to the surface, and they're trying to make their way into like South Cincinnati. Okay, I think that's far less of an issue than actual nuclear documents just kind of floating around there wherever. Okay, and so yeah, it's happening, but yeah, I think this is far more important than that. And the thing is, these people, they're not even thinking about changing course. Okay, if anything good comes from this, is the fact that the Republicans are too stupid and too bought into Donald Trump to even begin to think about changing course to reach like a normal human being on this issue. If they had any political acumen at all, they would dump Trump. They would drop him like a hot rock, bro. They would be running away from this guy because nobody wants to be included in this. Instead, they're hopping in right behind him because what the right does is they fall in line. All the time, no matter what, they'll fall in line and they'll follow it to their death until somebody pulls them out of it or they get pulled out of it themselves. But outside of that, most people are perfectly fine staying the course because they're too scared to step out of line, or they think that they'll lose something about it, or they just don't know what's happening. Listen to what Marjorie even had to say about this. This is wild, man.
If you had to advise, based on your traveling around, what are the 3 issues that the average American resonates with so that at least messaging-wise, Republicans are able to nail it? What are the top 3 that create the greatest emotional reaction, in your opinion?
Well, I think
also a really big thing that instead of caring about like what's important, they want to care about what causes the most emotional reaction. Really curious. Definitely not a budding fascist movement. Definitely 100%.
I think that's traditional political thinking. The question that you asked, that's the way to go towards the independent voter to help swing or grow more seats in the majority. And I'll tell you what I think the top 3 are to go after those voters. But then I'm going to.
So I want you to understand. She's like trying to grow your seats in the House and trying to reach out to people who aren't in your party to get them to vote for you. That's traditional thinking, and that's cringe. Yeah, we did actually turn the lady from our follower notification into a real person. It's wild. It's unfortunate that it happened, but it did happen, as sad as it really is. She kind of just hopped out of the screen one day when I turned the stream off. She just kind of like popped out, and then she threw something at me and then scurried out the door before I was able to catch her and put her back in. And somehow she actually made it into Congress. It's pretty fucked up. So I'm sorry about that. That is my fault, but you know, I hope you find it in your heart to forgive me. Anyways, these people are wild. These people are insane, dog. They're out of their minds if they think that this is the path forward. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense. She doesn't seem smart enough to be able to put together a political party. I mean, she was recently hanging out with like Nick Fuentes and crew the other day, and said that these are the people that we need to bring into the party. These are the people that we need to talk to. The fucking Nazi groups, not actually just like your average person in suburbia who we need to vote for us. But okay, whatever. I'm actually not gonna stop them. I'm not gonna interrupt my enemy while they're making a mistake. I'm going to be honest. As bad as it is that they're self-radicalizing, if it means that they're not gonna be able to get more seats in Congress, so they're never able to do this again, it's a worthy trade. I actually don't necessarily know what more to tell you. Things are getting worse in Trump land. They have no clue how to handle it. At the very least, it's a little funny. It's a little funny.